So I want to cover one of the little baits that I did earlier on my way on the train to Philadelphia. Okay, this has predictably alarmed a lot of people. What is to be done by Vladimir Ilyich Lenin? Clearly, when you take a photo of yourself staring out the window while holding a fucking book, like it's on purpose. Okay. It's so funny that people are pointing to this to be like, whoa, he's not actually reading. You're pretending to read. It's like, yeah, dude, that's the fucking joke. You're an idiot. Okay. Not only that, but also incredible bait post that alarmed everyone from Michael Rappaport. Dickhead is fake reading. You poser clown, bro. Take a pic of me while I fake read, bro. Dickhead. To pretending to read again so you can keep up with the socialist larp while you actively sheepdog actual well-intentioned socialists into supporting the Gaza genocide party? I forget. Please remind me. What chapter does Lenin talk about the need to tail the establishment party? Okay? And it's really funny because, like, he then highlights this. Who could have seen this coming? Everyone. We kept yelling about this. I think it's time for the liberals who scream at the left to bury the hatchet and actively reconstruct the Democratic Party to be a real opposition party with a bold vision of change. And then notice the part he did not highlight, which says, or build a real alternative. Like, buddy, it's right there. It's right there. The parts that you didn't highlight also straight up explain that if the alternative is not there within the ranks of the Democratic Party, which is currently the only viable electoral option, right, and should be utilized to at least spread class consciousness, broad awareness, political education, and also lean into or create some kind of revolutionary momentum in a country that is lacking of class consciousness, it's right there. Okay? First time the Dems are playing with the new rules Republicans abuse all the time, and corporate media stooges scream about the rules. This is a great move, and I hope it inspires Democrats to fight back even harder. Yeah. And then it's a compilation of all of the DSA candidates that I work with. Like, virtually all of these guys are DSA. Virtually all of them, with some exceptions. But the overwhelming majority are DSA. Go outside. Oh, you're talking about yeah. I assume you're responding to this guy. I love these people, okay? I love my mentally ill communist LARPers. You are my favorite type of poster on Twitter. Keep posting that shit, okay? That's what I say to you. To all the communist LARPers in my fucking replies, keep posting that shit, big dog. I love it. I personally love it. On the one hand, for the revolutionary communists of America, for the ACP guys, I obviously am a sheepdog of the bourgeois, neoliberal, corporate-backed Democratic Party, and I'm actually a social fascist. And for all of the actual social fascists, I am an authoritarian Marxist-Leninist, okay, who is not pragmatic at all, who doesn't understand how to fight Republicans, who doesn't care about fighting fascism at all, and wants to rebuild America in his own vision. Shannon Watts, of course, author of New York Times bestseller Fired Up, an organizer who started off as, one of those Moms for America, not Moms for America, but like a anti-gun violence activist who then now has become the number one supporter of Israel for some weird reason. She went from being anti-gun control and anti-school shooting to being pro-school shooting as long as it's in Gaza or if it's in Lebanon. Or if it's in Iran. She's totally on board with those kinds of school shootings, just not on board with school shootings happening in the United States of America. Shannon Watts says, Democrats trying to normalize Piker are making a mistake. He's not just a cool, edgy guy who wants universal health care, nor is he disliked simply because he speaks up for Palestinians, as his supporters would claim. The core problem with Hasan Piker is that he is, at most, basic level, an ideological authoritarian. He promotes violence and repression whenever that violence and repression have a socialist lean. Okay? Now, of course, the reality of the matter is, if I was pro-Israel, she wouldn't be actively highlighting hit pieces, and these hit pieces would not even be written at all. But, you know, keep it up. Keep up the hit pieces. I'm sure one day it'll work. Laura, hardline Dem Party centrists are pivoting from Hasan as Hamas to Piker as Putin. Just an entrenched, corrupt network protecting their racket from an outsider threat using whatever rhetorical weaponry they think will preserve their power. Yeah. Jeremiah Johns has written the best critique of Hasan Piker I've ever read. This is really about democracy versus authoritarianism. And if someone has the consistency to oppose any boot on your neck, whether it was made in a socialist or capitalist factory, Piker doesn't. Hasan Piker is an authoritarian, says Jonathan Chait. So is Netanyahu. If liberal Zionists want to survive, we must fight both. It's very funny. I love it personally. I know a lot of people are like, how do you deal with this? How do you keep up with this? To them, I say, there's not really much you can do. You just got to keep pushing. Okay? It is what it is. Yeah. Joe Biden both accused China of genocide, then kept boasting about his relationship with Xi. Trump let China have some of our most advanced chips. I don't get why Hasan Piker is the issue with China. Our own government practices appeasement. I said I'm doing it foreigner style. In some ways, that's the case. But the reality of the matter is, it's because they are your dumbass ops trying to call you pro-autocracy because every seat of power is definitionally authoritarian? Yes. Yeah, judge me by my enemies. Your boos mean nothing. When I've seen what makes you cheer, that's how it goes, okay? The people who eat Netanyahu's dick and have consistently done so for the past 2.5 years, for people who have consistently defended Israel, for them to turn around and be like, Hasan is the real danger. He's the real authoritarian. Okay, well, sucks to suck. Would love to see the Venn diagram of pro-genocide, anti-Piker camps. Here's Representative Josh Gottheimer. Hatred is hatred, period. It doesn't matter whether it comes from the far right or the far left. Very influential voices like Hasan Piker and Candace Owens spread hate, promote terrorism, all this good stuff. Right? Yeah, authoritarianism is when you demand that mega corporations don't slaughter people with its routine pollution campaigns at the behest of profit. You know, that's authoritarianism. Unbelievable levels of authoritarianism. You're an authoritarian if you think we should put people ahead of the interest of profit. That is what the authoritarianism is. That is what their fear is. Authoritarianism is when you say, hey, maybe we should actually punish and hold accountable countries that have been murdering school children in their schools. You know, that's probably something that we should do if we're honest, if we're actually humanitarian in the way that we promote ourselves and the way that we see ourselves, right? Unbelievable levels of authoritarianism. Yeah, not gaming is authoritarianism. I am a fascist in that regard. You're right. For the gaming frogs. My MAGA dad will actively say he doesn't want to live in a democracy anymore to random people he meets, and they usually agree in rural Western PA. He says he wants the government to run like a business. Oh my God. It's classic Republican. Classic Republican tropes here. We got to run this government like a business. So, but yeah, corporate media has been going crazy mode. 17 articles written. The New York Sun, House Bill calls out Hasan Piker, Candace Owens for fueling hatred of Jews. National Review, micro-looting, still talking about that. National Review is still... Elite leftist influencers think political violence is cool now from the Wall Street Journal. Sky News Australia. Hasan Piker tells Sky News Rita Wallah.
It's time for Lefties.
Oh my God. Wait, what the fuck? Hasan Piker tells Sky News Rita Panahi to focus on dingoes and wallabies. Millionaire Mox's clashes with Sky News host. Wait, why is she posting that? It's just a self-own. That makes no damn sense. And then is she going to have Josh Hammer on again? Usually that's what they do. Arnar. Let's go. Clearly, you're a theocrat, not authoritarian. Okay. Jerusalem Post. House to consider bipartisan resolution condemning the spread of anti-Semitism. Daily Wire, New York Post, Fox News. Okay. Jewish Insider wrote one, but it didn't pick up. There's a lot. It's all over. The New York Times didn't write one, which is crazy. Alan Dershowitz from the Christian Broadcasting Network. I got banned completely from the New York Times. Now they're platforming Hasan Piker. I didn't see this one. That's funny. The free press, culture that bred Cole Allen, all this shit. JTA, Times of Israel. Holy fuck, Times of Israel's written a lot. Forward, Newsweek, Vox, Manhattan Institute, Jewish Chronicles, Politico, all this good stuff. All right, anyway. Someone buy your domain is redirected to a smear site. You can fight this with lawyers. Okay, dude, it's fine. It is what it is. All right. So, you know, that's where we're at in the smear, on the smear side. But I did find it very funny, you know, because the GOP is sending him via sealed train to Maine to undermine the Democrats. And then this guy goes, should have been photographed performatively reading this. Would have been both funnier and confused a lot of people. Why would it confuse people? Why would this confuse people? Like, it's seemingly confusing to you what I'm doing there, which is, you know, deliberate. It's by design. This would be also in line with my beliefs. I like that Tyler Austin Harper, who acts as though he understands like fundamental Leninist critique, and then acts as though I would be one of the people being called out in left-wing communism and infantile disorder. It's very, very stupid. He doesn't have nearly the sense of humor, self-awareness, or willingness to make fun of himself to ever do something actually funny like this. Case in point. No, you fucking idiot. It doesn't make sense because it would be in line with this. It would be the exact same thing. Oh, God, whatever, dude. It's just people throwing Marxist terminology around without understanding what it means, without understanding the nuances and the different the different ideological tendencies as well. A little chuggy Lamau. I mean, it is. It's the whole point. Anyway. The post was expert bait. The LeBron memes had me dying. Yeah. Oh no, I'm sleeping in the bed I made. DSA endorses Chris Rabb. Yeah, Democratic Socialists of America has endorsed Chris Rabb. DSA has only made 2 national endorsements in 2026. Obviously, we'll be hanging out with Chris Rabb later today. Read Theory on stream. You want to know what's fun? Jordan Theory. Jordan _Theory says, read Theory on stream. Ironic because I have done that. And specifically, left communism and infantile disorder. That's literally a thing that I have read on stream. Given that I have been live, given that I have more than 21,000 hours, okay? Given that I have more than 21,000 hours on this fucking broadcast, everything that people always say, why don't you do this? I most likely have done. Okay, just Google it first, search for it, and you will find it. Okay, I promise you. Like, this is a huge deal. Don't let anybody act as though this is not a huge deal. even in my most skeptical moments with Graham Platner, looking at his background, looking at what he's done, what did I keep telling you? That the silver lining here is the fact that regardless of the red flags that he has, for my estimation, it's very clear that the main base it does not care about those things. As a matter of fact, they might even see it as a benefit, the fact that he was a machine gunner and things like that, give him an opportunity, give him a lot more legitimacy, a lot more credibility to speak on issues such as war. Many of you said his sentiments, his anti-war sentiments are not to your liking because many of you refuse to grade politicians on a curve, and that's obviously always going to lead you into disappointment. But the reality of the matter is, as I said over and over and over again, that these sorts of things that in the past, the things that he was advocating for, the things that he's still advocating for, like Medicare for all, saying, that he is anti-Israel from the start, being promoted by Bernie Sanders off the rip. Like these were all early green flags for the Bernie-crat wing, for the left flank candidacies that are propping up in primaries all around the country. So every single victory of this sort is going to be good. Okay?
That same establishment Washington, D.C. support, that at least that's the way that a lot of political insiders perceive it.
And as Terry said, we have reached out to Graham Platner's campaign. We are currently reaching out to Senator Susan Collins' campaign as well for reaction to this news. We will be sure to join you on air and online as we get updates, and we'll be sure to continue to update you with that information as well, too.
Senator, your reaction to the Mills news?
Here's Susan Collins, who Graham Platner is obviously running against in the general. Susan Collins is Madam I'm Concerned. Many of you know her by her name, I'm Concerned, or Mrs. Concerning. Susan Collins is a moderate Republican, which means nothing, really. It just means that she just keeps saying, oh, I'm very concerned. Whenever Trump is like, I'm going to set up I'm going to set off all of our nuclear arsenal and, I don't know, wipe out Estonia off the map. People will go to Susan Collins and be like, ma'am, what do you feel? How do you feel about this? And she'll say, I'm concerned. Okay? No matter how insane Donald Trump gets, she will always say, look, I'm very concerned, but I'm going to have to vote for whatever Trump is doing. Oh, is he wiping off Estonia? Is he wiping Estonia off the map with nuclear arms? I'm concerned, but I will probably vote for it. Okay? Yeah, she's like the EU of senators. She's just concerned, but stands in line with the party. Yes. Madam, I'm sure he's learned his lesson. That's another one. And Susan Collins has obviously drawn enough ire from the president as well and the MAGA base as well for even demonstrating concern whenever Donald Trump says or does something unbelievably stupid, even if she's a loyal servant of the party when push comes to shove. So she's in this unique predicament and most likely will lose her seat. This is a Republican seat, so this will be a flip. And the reason why that's very important is because Maine, I guess you could consider it maybe a purplish state, but it's a red seat, right? It's a Republican seat that will be luckily flipped blue. And what's really interesting about that is that this goes against all of the previous established commentariat talking points. Zohran Mamdani is only popular in a place like New York where everyone is a woke libtard homosexual with a septum ring and a degree in queer biology. No one with Zohran's politics could ever win in a red state. No one with Zohran's politics could ever win in a purple state. Talk to me when someone with Zohran Mamdani's politics ends up winning a red seat. This is what the reasoning has always been from centrist Democrats, claiming that people like AOC, people like Zohran Mamdani, people like Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib can only win in deep blue areas. Okay? Deep blue areas where the electorate resembles a gender queer English major that is getting an education in a liberal arts college with 150 other people. Okay? That's not the case. It turns out 65-year-old white ladies and 75-year-old white guys fucking love what Graham Platner has been serving. Let's take a look at one of these rooms that he's filled. And these are rooms that he has filled all around the state, mind you. Graham Platner famously has traveled up and down the state of Maine, going into towns with like 100 people and selling out 1,000-person arenas. He has this incredible capability, walking like a chud and thinking like a woke, where he's capable of filling up rooms and arenas in towns where there's just more people attending his speeches than there are people in the fucking town. Turns out people love a progressive mind and a MAGA body. Okay? Turns out people are demanding a progressive mind and a MAGA body, demanding a person who walks like a chud but thinks like a woke, walks like a chud but talks like a woke, whatever you want to call it. Okay? Vinny DeBozo says, does no one else find it a bit nuts that Platner is able to command waves of 65-plus-year-old whites to the rallies where he talks about putting Alito and Thomas in jail and passing Medicare for all by getting rid of the filibuster? Yeah. Like, this is not a college campus in an urban area. This is Maine 2. Now, people will still do their very best to confirm their priors. Okay? You're going to see a big race by the Matt Iglesias constituency, the commentariat that is getting paid by billionaires, millionaires, and the corporate lobbyists to constantly fucking feed that slop over and over again. The idea that, you see, this victory actually doesn't do anything. If anything, it confirms my priors. That's what they're going to say. I'm sure they've already started to say this, and we'll take a look at what they have to say in a moment. But let's get back to Susan Collins. Madam Concerning.
I'm sure this was a very difficult decision for Governor Mills, and I wish her well. She has devoted her life to public service in the state of Maine in many different capacities. She has serve the people of our state, and I'm sure this was a hard decision for her.
Will Platner be easier to beat in your view?
I'm not going to get into the November election at this point. This is the governor's day, and I think the focus should be on her and her wanting to give her message to the people of Maine.
A lot of Democrats believe that he has the energy on the left. Does he bring a lot more energy than she would have as a general election candidate?
I'm not going to get into playing pundit in this race. This is the governor's decision. I'm sure it was very difficult. She spent decades in public service. She served as a district attorney, as the attorney general, and as a two-term governor of the state of Maine. We have worked well together in the past, and I'm sure we'll continue to work together for the remainder of her time in office.
What's your strategy going forward? Thank you.
Do you think Schumer misread the electorate in Maine?
Governor Mills has dedicated her career to this beautiful state. We're all eternally grateful for her service to the state of Maine as governor and her lifelong career serving Mainers as Attorney General, as District Attorney, and in the legislature. We both got into this race because we knew how critical it is to defeat Susan Collins. And her decision today reflects a commitment to that project. I look forward to working closely with her between now and November to do just that, to defeat Susan Collins and turn this seat blue again. The race has never been about me or really about one person. It's about a movement of working Mainers who are fed up with being robbed by billionaires and the politicians who own them.
So Graham Cooks, again, obviously walk like a chud, think like a woke. But, of course, Graham Platner does the graceful thing, the gracious thing. Okay, what is this? Platner looks different in this picture. Graham Platner's Aram Mamdani and Sam Pike are officially the future of the Democratic Party. These are written in a way where I can't even tell if this is like a pro piece or an anti piece. But given the overwhelming majority of the unbelievable, like an unbelievable barrage of hit pieces, I suspect that this is just probably another one of those things that's like cautioning the Democrats for making a big mistake. There's a joke in there. I just don't get it.
We are now taking back our power. That is what this campaign is. We will defeat Susan Collins. We will go to Washington and we will start tearing down the system that for too long has forgotten and written off the people who make Maine and this country what it is. People have said this campaign came out of nowhere, but those people don't know Maine. This movement came out of a lot of somewheres, from working waterfronts that have worked far too long only to be pushed to the brink.
Still following, by the way, Lamau, W chat. Oh my God. This is the streamer from yesterday. The one that has the... I'm sorry that you have insane parasocial stalkers that you have to deal with that are telling you to unfollow me. That's no love lost if you were to lean into this. But you have it 1,000 times worse than I do. I'm all good. I mean, yeah, I eat it from every end, If unfollowing gets you harassed less, definitely do it, but appreciate you being here. Yeah. All right, let's continue with the Graham Platner speech.
The closest hospital is now hours away. For workers who pay more.
You were going to interview him after the Kirk debate? Yeah, we were supposed to do a main we were supposed to do a main thing together after the Charlie Kirk debate. Obviously that fell apart. I'm happy that he's cooking right now.
Taxes than billionaires. For loggers who are just one mill closure away from bankruptcy. And for young people who want a home to call their own. And for seniors who are ready to demand the dignity that they deserve.
Yeah, what happened? Well, I had to cancel my public appearances for at least a couple weeks, if you recall, because the guy who I was supposed to debate publicly in a public setting got publicly killed after being shot in the fucking neck,
For decades, this system has taken, piece by piece, store by store, hospital by hospital, shore by shore, town by town. They have taken from us. And they took so much that they began to think that we didn't exist at all. But they don't know Maine. They don't know the power that we have here. And we are taking back what is ours. Everyone who's come here today to endorse me, it is an absolute honor to have you here. I very much recognize that the project that we are engaged in, this is just a continuation of work that has happened for a very, very long time. And so to everyone who's here, I really want to say thank you very much. And thank you for all your work all of these years, building the foundation that we all get to build on now, to build a state and to build a country that represents the people who build it. Thank you.